one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have a moment of silent prayer for our council members and our town and our country? Amen. Alright, it is April 6th. Unbelievable, we're in April already. April 6th, 2021, 5:30 in the evening. We're in the Municipal Center. We have first from Lisa YouTube. Can I have the roll call, please?
Scott Murphy.
Here.
Rick Weber. Absent. John Boer.
Here.
Rose Jackson. Here. Elizabeth Skinner. Here. Chris Chapman.
Here.
Susan Webster. She is here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Can I have the review of the minutes from the council meeting, March 16th, 2021? I'll take any additions or corrections and common consent. Everything looked fairly good to me, so anybody else have any common consent? All right. Done. Okay, we have one person before council, and that's Charlie Webster.
Okay,
So you have the floor, sir.
You got here just in time.
perfect. Yeah, excuse me, I'm gonna just get in and get out with the virus. I haven't been vaccinated or anything, and I appreciate all of what you do and still meeting and keeping town going. So I just found out about the historic board and the certificates of appropriateness. And I'm a local resident. Many of you know me. I live on historic lot 22, the original 1776 town of Bath map in the corner of Market and Mercer Street. I have a beautiful arts and crafts house built in 1923 that I've restored to period. Out to the exterior, looks very nice. So far, I've taken about 10 hours of research to figure out what's happening with the historic board and talk to some people. And as of right now, I'm solidly against it. So I just wanted to come and say that I've talked to some of my neighbors, and in my opinion, I had a historic house in Baltimore, 1872 house, and there was an overseeing board, a civic association, and they had the best intentions. And I understand the historic board has the best intentions, the landmark, and wants to keep the town to period. I understand all that, but I had a very bad incident where it cost me $10,000, which was very unnecessary expenditure. So I'm the type of person where I'm very low key. If you know, I've been here 10 years, but you see me and I'm behind good projects and things like that. I always try to be positive. And I think the town has done well just in the 10 years that I've been here. I see a lot of signs that have been changed. I see a lot of dilapidated structures that like slowly but surely are being kind of brought around or torn down, or so I think all that's, and I appreciate all the work you do, because I know that's happening in the background, and I know it can get very contentious. So I don't know how it is, but I don't want to take any of the steam out of the people that are doing the landmark commission and want to do this. I understand why they want to do this, and generally I agree. I want to be left out of it. I don't want to have to go in front of a board and get a certificate of appropriateness for what I'm doing on my property. I have a feeling that I know my neighbors very well. I bought that piece of property specifically because there was no HOA or overriding board that was going to oversee. Now, doing things to code, if I want to build a garage or a chicken coop or a fence for a dog, absolutely, do it to code. But I want to do it to my style, So I'm kind of on the fence. I guess the only thing I would suggest is that maybe the map is more tightened down to the main roads, because I think that's the biggest thing. We get a strip mall in town, something like that. That seems like the biggest. Somebody buys a property, that seems to be a compromise. But I don't want to tell them what to do, and I don't want to be told what to do.
Well, Charlie, I think we understand. We've spent
Okay.
a long time on this too. And I was wondering if have you seen the proposed guidelines and laws and all of that kind of thing?
I picked 10 hours of research.
Because we can,
It's a little bit.
We can get it to
I
you.
sent him the briefing.
Okay.
So
good.
we've talked.
Yeah.
It was a lengthy conversation.
And again, I'm not trying to. I understand. We've never met. We've met. We talked. Email.
Okay.
And I totally appreciate what he's doing. I just think that considering COVID, your period of public discussion is limited, and we just went through a contentious election. People are not going to be for So even if I'm just a negative no vote, I think once this gets around, people don't want more oversight right now.
And they'll have an opportunity to cast a vote that way. I mean, that's the beauty of
Well,
this.
like I said, we
Yeah.
talked about in meetings, you know, we had a meeting there with the Landmark Commission about 2 weeks ago. We talked about just doing a certain part, sizing our historical district down for now.
Yeah.
So like I said, I know council, all members on council have really been diving into this, trying to get all the information that we need
Yeah.
to be able to make an informed decision.
Absolutely.
And the Landmarks Commission, they put on a great
Mhm.
presentation here about 3 weeks ago. So I think well noted.
Mhm. Yeah, I just wanted to come and just express how I feel.
You know,
And we've talked, and maybe, David, you and I will see eye to eye when I see more details, but I didn't know the map. And
Right.
and frankly, I'm just not a meeting guy. So I don't mean any animosity to anyone in this room. You guys are holding the fort down and you do it. You're consistent and you keep this town going, and I really appreciate it. I'm just not a meeting guy, and to tell you the truth, like just 10 hours researching this and the more time I'm gonna have to try to understand it, I would rather be painting my house, to tell you the truth.
And we won't stop that. Now, the $10,000, I cannot imagine a place where we're going to charge someone or someone's going to have a $10,000 fee because it's not a code issue. It's not a zoning issue. There's
Yeah.
nothing that we're going to require that's going to require that kind of outlay of money.
Right, and I understand that. He's speaking of.
Yeah.
I
Looking
understand.
down.
And it's really, it's not, I don't think it's even apples and oranges, what Baltimore's doing, what we're trying to do here. Really, at the end of the day,
I want to
Well,
disagree, and I
like
just want to say very simply that you have the best intentions, but implementation and petty infighting, and this person doesn't like this or doesn't like that, and like, it's been my own experience, and that's why I bought this house, is that I don't have the oversight. I live in town, I'm a really good neighbor, and I'm just against it for that now.
Right. What we're gonna do is we're
Yeah.
gonna call a special meeting.
Uh-huh.
And I would appreciate you, I know you don't like to come to meetings, but I'd appreciate you being at that meeting. We've hashed this out. I'm not
Right.
gonna go round
Right.
and round tonight in the
Sure.
meeting.
Yeah, and I don't want to be.
Duly noted.
Okay, yeah, that's,
Definitely, I'm glad you came in and
Yeah.
talked to us, but
Yeah.
we're gonna have, when we got the rest of our council members, we're gonna have a special meeting.
Okay.
And, I know David's gonna be here. I know everybody that's been, with the Landmark Commission will be in here. You can be, if you can come
Yeah.
in, we'll make sure that you know when.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be the night that this council's gonna determine which way we go, because it's
Yeah.
like David said, if the council don't wanna go kind of the way, then he doesn't want to spend millions of hours
Sure.
tied up in doing that.
Yeah.
And I think it's well noted, and I
Yeah.
appreciate you coming in and talking to us. I'm not trying to,
yeah,
but like I said, I'm just not gonna go round and round
Right.
tonight on this whole issue.
And Charlie, just so you know, for your peace of mind, you're
Yeah.
not alone.
Yeah.
But anyway, like I said, we're gonna have, it's
Yeah.
gonna be well publicized. We will have people in here. There will be
Yeah.
a vote, whether whatever the historical district is, if the council decides to go whichever way.
Uh-huh.
There is a vote, and if 51% say no, they don't want it, then it dies,
but
so,
that mechanism, I think, is a little bit tricky, because that's giving me more work,
right, so,
I think if this happened a year later, not in the middle of COVID, because now I'm going to go around, I'm going to talk to my neighbors, and I'm going to try to do this as softly as possible. I'm going to
Right.
gather just a couple neighbors around me, and, a petition, not shooting down what you're trying to do, but just to give you a feel for like the real people who live
Right.
in town,
and-
what their feeling is,
Right. And we've already talked about like the back streets, not including them in the historical district.
Yeah.
Like I said, we haven't even come up with what the historical district's gonna be, even though your house is an historical house.
Right.
He's
we,
in the district.
well, no, Susan, we don't know if he's in the district.
right, we
Okay,
have.
we cannot make that statement.
We,
He's in it was in the first
That is,
district.
remember, that is where
well,
the
we're
starting
talking about
point.
smalling it down
Yeah.
and taking maybe just like the downtown or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just using that as an example. And doing it there
Yeah.
and not going on the back streets where you
Yep.
got, so like I said, there's a whole bunch of mechanisms in this thing right now.
Yep.
And I would appreciate you definitely coming
Will
to
do.
that meeting.
Will do.
Like I said, it's gonna be a meeting of the minds, figuring out which way we're gonna go, whether we as a council participate in that.
Yeah.
Or whether we say, no, we just wanna do Because like I said, we don't want to waste their time, because David says if this isn't workable,
Yeah.
then there's no sense going any farther. So,
Yeah.
and that's what we have to determine.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
but like I said, I really appreciate you coming and talking with the council and with
Yeah.
me and letting us know,
I appreciate being heard, and
so.
I don't want to, I know you spend a lot of time on this, and I
That's-
feel your passion for the town, and I think that's great, but I don't know, I just don't have enough information, so it's scaring me.
I understand.
Right.
Can I jump the agenda if Charlie's done and
Yeah.
deal with what I've got to say while he's here,
Yeah.
so then he can leave?
Yeah,
You'll stay, Charlie, listen to what I have to say? So,
yeah, we'll bring the landmarks commission up.
if I may, so, so after the March 23rd meeting, you and I talked, a couple other people too. So what I want to first do is kind of dispense with some of the misconceptions. What it means to establish a local district with protections. First, protected local historic district does not require you to modify or restore your property to fit into a historical context. Does not dictate what you can do inside your building. Does not dictate what you can do on the portions of your property that cannot be seen from the street. Does not restrict what you can use your property for. This is not zoning. Does not require you to hire an engineer or an architect. This is not a building code. Does not require you to paint your building a certain color. Does not require you to open up your property to the public. And it does not happen quickly. And most importantly, it does not happen without the opportunity for involvement of all property owners who live within the proposed district and approval of 50% of the property owners within the proposed historic district before we go forward. So here's the process. And I think you'll see how long this takes, which is why we want to get this nailed out. First thing is, you need to determine the boundaries of a proposed local historic district with protections. Public participation will be invited and encouraged. Second, we're going to meet with property owners one-on-one whenever possible to explain the design guidelines, their certificates of appropriateness process, and benefits to establishing a local historic district. And my personal goal, and I'm hanging this on the Historic Landmark Commission, is we're looking to meet 100% of the property owners who reside in the local area. So right off the bat, then per West Virginia law, the Historic Landmark Commission will submit documentation, including maps showing the proposed boundaries and photographs to the West Virginia State Historic Preservation Office. That office then has 45 days to provide written comments on the proposal. After that, assuming that they say yay, verily, go forth, then in accordance with West Virginia law, the Historic Landmark Commission can then proceed to hold a public hearing on the proposed designation of historic district. The law requires the Historic Landmark Commission to publish notice of the hearing at least 2 times before the meeting. In addition, every property owner within the proposed district will receive written notice of the hearing via certified mail with a signed return receipt required. Also, every occupant will receive a notice of the meeting via the mail. All the notices shall be published or mailed not less than 10 nor more than 20 days prior to the date set for the public hearing. Following the public hearing, unless 50% of the ownership in the proposed district objects to requirements within 30 days, the Historic Landmark Commission may proceed with historic designation. If a property owner is in favor of establishing a local historic district, then no action is required on their part. The Historic Landmark Commission will then have 30 days to notify and rating the owners and occupants of each property within the historic district of the necessity of obtaining a certificate of appropriateness prior to undertaking any material change in the appearance that can be viewed by the public from the street within the historic district. Key, step 1 will not start till the Town Council empowers the HLC by amending the current HLC ordinance to allow for certificates of appropriateness. So that's the part we're waiting for Rick to get back on.
Right.
2, there will be no step 3 if the majority of property owners of the HLC meets with decide they don't want to do it, that they're against it flat out. I'm not going to go down. We're not going to go to the trouble of notifying everyone if we reach the 100% of the locals and the feeling is we don't want to do this. I've done everything I possibly can, but that's where it ends. So that's the process. But if you add those days up, that's months and months before we even get started. So we're probably looking at a year from now, I would think, even if everything rushed through.
Right.
So that's kind of where we're at. So like I said, it's not a mandate. Everyone gets a vote. I understand we may end up being on opposite sides of that fence, and you'll be looking to sway people to say no. And the Historic Landmark Commission and other folks who live in the district will be looking to sway people to say yes. That's a horrible way to go about it, but if that's what it comes down to, that's what it comes down
The
to.
thing is I'm the type of person, I would never sway anybody to say no. I would just honestly get their feedback.
Okay.
I'm that type of
Well, like I
person.
said, we're going to give everyone an opportunity to sit down and say what voice their concerns are. And I mean, the irony is, Charlie, this isn't directed at you. you're,
affects
you're,
me greatly.
no, but it's not. You're gonna do the right thing no matter what. And I think when you look at what the certificates of appropriateness are gonna require you to do in the design guidelines,
Yeah.
it's not something onerous. It really isn't.
Charlie?
Yeah.
Our attorney agrees with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just providing a viewpoint. I know you've already gone through the process and I'm playing catch up to it. I just want to give you honest feedback. As somebody who lives in town, my heart's in the town, and if anybody knows my property, I
Beautiful.
I try to keep it, nice. But if I want to do something, if I want to put up a chicken coop or garage that doesn't fit, it's very tough for me to figure out where to put a garage. I don't want someone.
And like I sent you that picture, if someone wants to set up a smoke shop next to your house, they can do that too.
Well, that's the funny thing is I know all my neighbors and I know exactly what they're going to do.
Charlie, but properties sell here all the time.
Geraldine Willard is 97 years old and her grandson's living with her and he's going to take over the property. So I've already vetted some of these things. Larry Lauer.
People change their minds.
I know. And I don't want to take up any more of your time. But just to give you an idea of what I'm feeling, how about you put it in those bylaws? Everybody that's on a historic board has to register their property so I can come take a look at it. I want to see, do you paint your house? Do you cut your grass?
We're not asking you to cut your grass. That's not part of it, Charlie. There's no painting. We don't care if you paint your
Right.
house or not. If the paint peels off, that's not what this is about.
But I think the thing you're not understanding, and I will cut this short, is that I don't want people with oversight over me. And if somebody has oversight over me, I want to see what they're doing. I want to see how they go about their business. Because
But
sometimes
they would.
people,
So if they
they
live
don't
in the
do it
historic
this way.
district, they'll be governed by this too. Donna lives in the historic district. She will be
Yeah.
governed by this.
I just,
Well,
And
like
you
I
know,
said,
you can come by any old
I
time.
know, I
We
have.
love having you
well, that's
by.
the right thing. is
Tim
like,
has a property.
more than
Tim's a
50%
shop
of the
owner.
people in
His
this
building
room
is
I
governed
know
by it.
Personally, just in 10 years, it's a great thing. And we've already started an offline discussion, so I won't get in this, we have a good discussion. So.
I think this is gonna be for our special meeting, so we can sit here and hash this out. I mean, he's got basically the guidelines that they will have to go by. What we're gonna have to, this council, it's laying on this council, they're going to have to determine which way to go. Whether we even continue this discussion or whether it dies, like I said, it's gonna lay on the council members to say, yes, we're gonna do it, or no, we're not gonna do it. So, like I said, we're gonna have that as soon as Rick gets back. We're gonna have that before anybody else gets a chance to get out of town.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a special meeting, and I will make sure that you're invited. Of course, the Landmark Commission will be here, all the council members will be here, anybody that's interested, that way we can hash this out, and we're gonna put it to bed that night.
Okay.
So,
We've been
one way or
doing that for
another.
a while.
But,
I know you have. I know you have.
So, but I thank you for
I
coming.
wanted to have my
in.
say, as you can see, and I appreciate you hearing me out.
I'm
That's a
thankful
great
that
thing
you
about this
came
town.
in and discussed. I mean, everybody has that opportunity to come in. It'd be an awful boring place if we all had the same exact opinion about how we did everything. So, it's a little contentious, but I think in the long run, we'll figure it out and we'll have that meeting. So like I said, I just, we'll have that meeting. And like I said, it'll be probably within the next 30 days. So we'll be calling to let you know.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you. That's interesting. See everyone.
Thank you for, letting us know exactly the
Well,
process.
that's
So,
the state law. That's what
Right.
I
That's-
read to you at the meeting in February or whatever. I was going down that list. So it's the same, yeah. it's the same.
but like I said, that's, we're gonna save everything for that meeting. Come prepared because we're probably gonna be here for a long time. So anyway, we're gonna move on then. And we're gonna go back up to communications from mayor. Basically, in my court, it looks like we have the fair housing, April's Fair Housing Month. We've been through this every year at the same time. It's the Fair Housing proclamation. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. It's the proclamation by the town of West Virginia for the Fair Housing Month. And like I said, we've been through this. We have to post this. If we pass it tonight, the proclamation has to be posted at our front door when people come in and everything. So I will ask if somebody wants to make a motion to pass this proclamation.
I move that the council approve authorizing the mayor to proclaim April fair housing in the town of Bath.
Second.
Here we have a motion, second on the floor. Do we have any discussion?
This actually is not what we normally pass. We normally pass, maybe it's I don't remember if it's every year, if it's every 3 years.
This is every year.
An ordinance not an ordinance,
It's about money, isn't it?
it's,
That's a little bit later.
we pass a, whatever it is, a motion to approve the home consortium, which authorizes money to
Right.
help people pay mortgage down payments on properties.
That's on your next agenda, Beth.
Yeah, this
It's on
here we
the
do every
Okay,
April.
so
but-
I'm just making the point that this is
Right.
not that.
Okay, thank you, Beth. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
I would just point out that this is a part of the small city block grant in order to get that funding for the water line replacement project. This is one of the things that we need to do to be in compliance with that grant.
Okay, any more discussion? I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Chris, I'll put you in. I'm gonna put your John Hancock on it because you're in charge of water. So, all right, that is all I have. Do we have the Bath Development Authority on? Is she on there?
No.
Okay. All right, looks like their next meeting is gonna be April
Tomorrow.
7th, and they're gonna do it via Zoom. All right, Parks and Recs, I know they sent in, at first they were gonna be here, but then they can't, because they're all coaching or
Yeah,
doing.
I talked to Don Bill, who's director, and she reiterated that they're all out coaching and had conflicts tonight. And the only thing she was said to pass on was just that they're working on the disc golf thing at the parks. Well, it's the frisbee when you try to get it in the baskets, and I think they're the plan is to try to get something set up at each of the parks, and you can kind of flow with each other.
From park to park.
Yeah, so they're continuing to work on that, and I think they're also looking at doing some sort of around that once that's in place, to kind of kick it off a clue game sort of thing for the community. So to be continued as they work, but they're working on it.
That's cool. Okay. All right, thanks, Chris. Well, Planning Commission. I know everybody on council has been appointed to the Planning Commission until we can get the Planning Commission back up. Anybody have anything from Planning Commission? All right. Rails and Trails.
Right. You got, presumably you all got the update, shortens, whatever it is I'm gonna say. Of interest, we did get the extension from the EPA grant at the end of September, that's good. Got plans to make sure we've got everything we need to finish off parcel 3. Rebecca's working on that. She's also working on sort of a planting event sometime in April, where we'll put in the vegetative barrier that we're doing in lieu of the fence, because DOH is gonna do the fence. She can grade me.
It's in May.
It's in May now.
That's what she said.
Okay, good. I thought it was too soon. Well, I was close. And we're getting to the point of official documentation. Mayor, you signed the land use covenant, that's off at DEP, waiting for them to sign it. And once that gets recorded, then we're off to CSX with some official stuff, that along with a certificate of completion.
Right.
We're gonna put the final stake in the heart of this thing. And that should release the deed, which finishes it. And we have plenty of time on the grant to finish it. The second piece, parcel 1A, that's getting real, from what I can see. We had a meeting on the 24th. Joel was on the phone with Mark Schooler at DOH, who was writing up the formal financial agreement. You remember that fun document from Streetscape.
Right.
Well, they're doing that now. And my view is when they start doing that, it's real. They're talking about real money, and the county has to find their money. Stephanie's working working that. And there, once that's done, the county has to actually show up with the money. So I'm thinking we're spring, early summer, that this may hit the street. We're trying to take a look at the final drawings. The LRS says DOH will have to give her permission to see the drawings. That also tells me they're close, because they don't like releasing drawings when they're going to bid them. So also we've settled up on, the county's going to give the town the money to have the LRS finish all the documentation on parcel 1A. It's going to come via the hotel motel contribution they did. They still up on the number, 12,000, which is remarkably like some of the other years. So that's all good. And I say we're likely to have another meeting in the end of April, but I tend to check with Joel and Bill Clark to see, do you really want a meeting? We've shifted from task force universe to line authority. The county is definitely doing work to make it happen. So I think that's okay. Any rail trail questions? All right. Streetscape. Couple of things here. I can't tell how the negotiations are going over the planters. It's dark. It's opaque back in District 5. So the fact they're quiet doesn't mean nothing's happening. Adam kind of said, no, they're not going to be back for a few weeks. I chatted with MCI, and they're still having trouble getting parts being pavers and stuff like that. So they don't seem to be in a rush to get back. Congress Street paving. I sent you all a note. Some of you a note. I went straight out and asked DOH, what if we can't pave down to Washington Street because MCI didn't finish that corner?
Right.
I said, well, you can sort of pave where you think you can pave, and DOH will be responsible for the rest. So, just like I said, I went down and painted red lines on the street, right? Pretty much at a point where nobody in his right mind would work there, because it's the edge of the big concrete stuff. And my view is you can pave from there up to Wilkes, get that street finished, and when DOH does 522, they get to do the rest. It happens all the time. They can't just run 522, they gotta go up cross streets.
Right.
So that puts it back, you can decide. I think you can decide to do it whenever you want to do it. It's probably a good idea. But it's your call, not mine. And Rebecca's working the final invoices so that we can close out this Chesapeake Bay Trust grant and collect the last $4,200 and pay back the county.
Right.
We consider we paid back, you've paid back all but $4,200 of the $59,000 that they gave us.
That's awesome.
They loaned us.
That's
And that's
awesome.
that worked like clockwork. And there's somebody in the other room who made that happen.
Right. Yeah.
Never let go.
She's looking the other way. I don't know why she keeps looking around.
No, she's other than correcting me on months, she's not. So. The other thing that came out was the chamber had a question about could they put banners up on light poles. This has come up before, well before my time, so I have no history of this. But I think that's something that we'd like to take up in the Streetscape Committee, and then let everybody who participated in it have a second say about it, and then eventually they'll come back to you folks
To us to decide whether.
because that has the aesthetics question, it has the material installation question, and it has content and banner questions, and then who's gonna pay for it. And maintenance means
When they fall
recurring.
down, when they
Right.
blow that.
Well, there's,
There's
I looked at
issues.
you could get a range from $25 to something over $400. You can get a group that's silent on how strong they are to one that says tested at 70 miles. They're not all the same. So what I would like to do, we have a streetscape meeting in a couple of weeks.
You might want to talk to Town of Hancock. They did a bunch of banners over there for the World War II veterans,
Yeah.
Vietnam,
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff. You might want to talk to them because they basically did the same thing on their light poles.
yeah.
Talk with them and find out how
How to go.
how they hold up. That would be a good idea to contact some Joe
Yeah,
over at
yeah,
there.
I'll check on
Yeah.
that. So we'll hopefully bring back something.
And I think it needs to be, Streetscape needs to discuss it and figure out what's going on and then bring it out of committee to us, the recommendation, yes, we're okay with it, or no, we're not real kosher with it or whatever. So I think it needs to come from the Streetscape committee out to the town council. I think it's an excellent idea.
That's the plan.
Okay,
Thanks.
all right, any questions? Okay, Rebecca over here now.
But we, along with Streetscape, we want to dedicate Congress Street, and we want to do that April the 24th. The chamber is sponsoring Uniquely West Virginia Taste of the Town. We would like to close off Congress Street, and the event would start with a dedication of the star, in front of the star, for Jeannie Mosier. So that would start at 9:30. And Lori's helping out a lot. It should be a really nice event. We'd like to close off the street so we could set up plant vendors. There's not going to be a plant sale. And we want to offer anybody who wants to sell some plants the opportunity, other than just the farmer's market. A lot of people don't,
Right.
the plant vendors don't necessarily do.
Just be a master gardener.
It could be, I mean,
Just
we're,
anybody.
well, yeah, I mean, I'm not too concerned about how many plants somebody has to sell. If they want to sell some plants, we only have so much room. So we'll have to get a list together.
Is that gonna be the 24th, you said, right?
It's a Saturday, and we also want to put up a table so we can start getting feedback on future streetscape projects. That's an excellent opportunity to capture people who are walking by. We'll,
We better get moving on this, Rebecca.
I know, Lori's doing a lot.
Okay.
The only thing I have real quick, just so I don't forget, is we might want to ask Terry's and make sure that they have no deliveries coming in that back alley on the 24th.
It's a Saturday.
I don't think they do, but I know they have deliveries come off that side street.
We were able to reroute them around the other way during construction. So, and that worked out
I
really
just want to
well.
make sure, because those are the only ones I think that's down there. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nobody that lives in that unless it's sold between now and then, and that trailer's out of there. So
We'd like to have the street closed off like the night before,
right,
like
so you can
we were able to
set up.
do when we were doing construction and we couldn't have parking.
The church is involved in the
Yes,
church.
we are. We're involving a lot of people because a lot of people worked on this. It wasn't just Pete and I, even though sometimes we think it is. We had so many people who donated and people who came down and helped us plant the area. And when I asked people to do things, they always showed up and ponied up. So we hope that the council can come and work that table. If you got a pop-up tent, maybe you want to do something like that. We'll get a whiteboard. We'll take some pictures. We use that kind of stuff for the last comprehensive plan, which you will have coming up soon. And I think it's really fitting that we dedicate that star at the beginning. We're going to have some musicians, acoustic, wandering around. So it should be a good time. The business license, it's only, they're just plant people.
With Congress Street being closed off, I'm just trying to think, the only business on that street that I can think of is Acacia Spa. They might want to be notified.
We'll notify everybody. Yeah. If you're good with everything, we will be talking to everybody, and we've got that big yard there too. We can have kid games,
Because
maybe
the
the
Acacia, I know,
church.
does a lot of business on it.
Yeah, they do. A lot of people walk in. That's what I saw when I was
I know,
on the
yeah.
street. So, but that's
Just a courtesy, I think.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
I'm sure you already.
Good idea. There'll be some food vendors, possibly. If you need the business license, can we collect it that day? Can there be some envelopes prepared with the names of the organizations? I don't know what you collect for a business license to sell plants.
Yeah, sure.
Or a discount or something.
Yeah, it's just a 1 day or 2 days after.
One day.
But Danielle just said, no, we're not gonna worry about it, so just go ahead and do it.
And you're in almost May,
Yeah,
so it would only be, what is it, I think,
yeah, just go ahead and let them do it. I mean, we've had a whole year of Rona, is,
Most of the people with plants anyways
right,
already have one.
so, yeah, let's let them do it. But,
Shouldn't be a big deal.
it's, council is, Tony, you have anything to say about Congress Street shutting down at the 24th of April?
No, we'll shut it down probably around 11 or midnight.
Okay.
Because Friday night.
Yeah,
it's
because
gonna be
people will be
busy.
parking there.
You
Yeah, we
can
need
park
to-
there for
So,
the apartments, so. that
Yeah, we
you
need to
get those
park.
parked back out.
Yeah, we need to put no parking signs up there, let them know the
Yeah.
dates. And,
don't we have signs or something? that
yeah,
They can post.
Rodney and them could get them
Yeah.
signs out.
So about 11 o'clock midnight, we'll just shut her down.
Okay.
And I already got a hold of Ashland and Terry's and Frankie's in the spot.
Okay. You all have any problems closing that roadway down? Okay,
Thanks.
not a problem. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Danielle.
Common consent.
Yeah, common consent. Yeah. I'm not gonna ask for that. All right, well, let's see. There's Trail Streetscape Train Depot.
I have the last communication I got from John McCracken says, Mark Stolar with the DOH, called John to say he's sending the depot project to the Federal Highways Administration for approval. And once Federal Highways signs off, the state can give us notice to proceed to advertise for bids. So he is saying this may take 1 to 4 weeks, and a couple question marks, of course.
Right,
But it will let me know, or let us know whatever else he finds out, but at least it is movement, and
yeah,
that's good.
yeah, because it looks like the trails is gonna get moving, so if that can correspond with all that, that would be great, then we could hopefully get everything complete, get it all dedicated in one
Very nice.
fell swoop. That would be cool.
Yep.
Okay, we had landmark commission, clerk and recorder's report. Madam Clerk?
The only thing that I had is right now we have open candidate filing for anybody that wants to sit on the council there. I have applications at my desk, if anybody is interested in that. It runs from the 1st through the 12th of this month.
All I wanted to say is regards to that, we do have our ballot commissioners set. Rebecca is going to be one, Betty Kelly, and next week is prescribed by the calendar. I'll have the poll workers in place and present the poll workers and substitutes and early voting people and all that ready for you all to look at. One other thing I was going to bring up is, of course, I'm on Morgan County Economic Development Authority and was just reappointed by the county for another 3-year term. Larry Holmes, who was the town representative, has been appointed by the Morgan County Commission. So I'm telling you guys that now the town of Bath does not have a representative.
Right.
And so, and you know the process and what they tend to, look for in the commission appoints are people in business, entrepreneurs. There are certain things that they have to hit: agriculture, labor, and not just labor unions, but labor relations, workforce development, and all that. They really try to hit those markers that are in the state statute that allow Morgan County to pass economic development. So anyway, in the future, we can be thinking, and if you recall the last time, there were 3 candidates that were given to economic development. Then they were presented to the county commission, and the county commission chooses.
Right.
So anyway, that's
How that all goes.
so is how that rolls. So I just wanted to mention
Anything else?
that.
Okay, all right. Well, then let's move on to finance. John, you're up.
Okay, shoot myself in the head. Make a motion to pay the town of Bath bills in the amount of $22,454.01.
Second.
A motion and second on the floor to pay the town of Bath bills in the amount of $22,454.01. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Motion to pay the Berkeley Springs water bills in the amount of $3,856.47.
Second.
Have a motion second on the floor to pay the Berkeley Springs Waterwork bills in the amount of $3,856.47. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, motion to pay the cemetery bills, $25.
Second.
Have a motion second to pay the Greenway Cemetery bills in the amount of $25. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Motion to pay the hotel motel bills in the amount of $15,984.84.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to pay the, hotel motel bills in the amount of $15,984.84. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. All right. Okay, looks like we got all the bills paid. The tree board,
The tree board met last month, and it looks like Andy followed up with Sharon on the Arbor Day Proclamation Day, which is April 19th. And they decided to plant a black gum tree at Inspired Chaos on Wolf Street. In the event there's a rain day, rain day is the 11th. In the event that the 19th is rained out.
all right. We need, got the Arbor Day proclamation here. Again, this is something we do every year. It's, I'm not gonna read it all. We've been through it before. So anyway, they're proclaiming April 19th, 2021 is Arbor Day in the city of Bath. And urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And I urge all citizens to plant and care for trees, to have in their hearts, promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated this 6th day of April in the year 2021. So I would entertain a motion and a second on that.
Second.
Second, okay, I have a motion and a second to make Arbor Day proclamation for April 19th, 2021. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. All right, that's done. So, close the way to I know, too. Got it. Come on, organized. All right, tree board's done. We don't have anything for Grant, right?
Nothing is Grant.
Okay. And let's move on to public safety.
I guess everybody got a copy of the March totals. It's a pretty busy month for us. We had 8 CI reports, criminal investigations. One of those was felony, 7 misdemeanors. We had 28 no reports needed, 3 arrests, 1 felony, 2 misdemeanor. No DUIs, no accidents. We had 100 citations issued, 36 warnings, 1 transport. 3 papers served, no alarms. Canine use was 2 and 151 parking tickets. I'm glad Danielle's back. Ready to pull my hair out. We are slowly still waiting on stuff to get the truck on the road. The kennel, she checked, is supposedly back ordered. Still waiting on the push bar. The Explorer's getting fixed from the deer strike that I had when I worked in the county, which will get our deductible back from the county because that's the agreement that we had. Once that's done, Chin's going to go. We'll start working on that here shortly, stripping it out, and we figure out what we want to do with it. I guess we can find a department down south or really just donate it to them. If anybody needs one, it's got a few things that needs, minor stuff that needs to be done. As far as upstairs goes, I'm about 60% done with my evidence locker. Finally got a destruction order. I'll be getting with the Sheriff's Department probably end of the week. I think we're going to the Frederick County Sheriff's Department to incinerate. I got like 7 bags I got to burn, trash bag full. Then things that up there, I just have to log in to the new system and get everything situated, and I'll be taken care of. So, that's about it.
Okay.
Not sure. Officer McGuire resigned. I don't know if he did. Yes. He put it in, the 31st was his last day. He stated on his resignation paper because they're short staffed at the VA. He's been working double shifts, working over. There's some other things, but we see like to have an exit interview with the mayor.
He would.
Yes. Okay. And we can discuss that.
Yeah, let me know. I'll try to get with you tomorrow or whatever. We'll figure it out.
So other than that, that's about it. Luke's doing a great job filling in part-time.
He's out there today.
He gives me 2 days a week, and 8 hours every day, and he's on it first thing in the morning. So
Yeah, he is.
He's a godsend right now.
Yeah.
He's
very
trying
much
to get
so.
things squared up and get back out in the road. So
Anybody got any questions for the chief? Do you have anything, Rose?
No.
Do you have anything, Danielle, since you popped back in the door for public safety?
For what?
For public safety.
All I'm gonna do is took over everything. So you got it. See, you don't make me. I can stay out longer.
Gee, okay. Just trying to give you a chance. All right, public safety. Let's move on to the cemetery.
Okay, we're in the season of starting to cut the grass again, which will be next week with Christie Renovation. I'm still waiting on Dick Gay for the memo promising me. He says sometime in the next couple of weeks, but I have begun the work on the bylaws with some guidance from him. It's not going to be a fast process. It doesn't need to be a fast process because it's really going to, the bylaw changes that I'm going to bring to the cemetery committee and then propose to the town council are going to really relate to the budget. So since we're done with budget for the year after our next meeting, there's not a big hurry to get this done, but I will get it done by the end of the summer and have everything in place as quickly as possible. It did have one contractor that was interested in doing the first step on the renovations of the mausoleum, and he has changed his mind and said he does not want the work, so I have to work on trying to find another contractor that's interested to get off the facade so we can do a real evaluation of the state of the mausoleum. So I'll just keep looking. I haven't met with my committee recently because I've been waiting on Dick Gay, but we will meet again soon. That's all I have.
His memo to you is just on the bylaw revision or?
Yes, and the also the Perpetual Care Trust Fund, but the problem with that is we can't, he says he can't petition a judge related to the trust fund until we have some hard numbers that we could present to a judge on repairing, for example, the mausoleum. So with my contractor backing out, I'm kind of back at stage one with that, but we'll we would also I'd also like to look at having the headstones reset in the cemetery. Those are the two main things that we really need to look at with trust fund. So I will continue working with him, but he's been so
He's moving
overwhelmed with work
and moving.
and moving. Yeah, moving. Last week it was that, and this week. So we're moving forward very slowly, but it will get done.
So when you go to circuit court, you have to have, these are the projects we want to use this money for.
Yeah, they're not gonna just say, well, you know,
Just
give me a pile of money and we'll figure out what to do with it. Because he's gonna have to ask for a specific range of funding. So that's what he indicated to me. So that's why I am trying to get some hard quotes on some of these things. I do have a contractor that I can go to for the headstones. So I'm working with the family that's concerned about their loved ones that are buried in the mausoleum. And so it's a situation where a lot of contractors are just afraid to work in a cemetery because there are documents you have to sign to disinter and so forth and so on. So that's part of the reason why we're talking about such high expenses in repairing the mausoleum. So we're just gonna have to take it one step at a time and just, you know, get it done as we're able to. It's gonna be a slow process, but I'm working with Mr. Reeder, and so the first step is to make sure that he's okay with his own family members and just move forward as we can find contractors who are even willing to give us bids. So.
Okay. Thanks, Beth.
Mhm.
All right, Public Works, Rick isn't here. Basically, I know they're working on starting to mow, and they were helping the police department today clean up some stuff up there. So they are out and about trying to get a date that we can hopefully get the stones and everything cleaned up off the side of the road for spring and everything. Problem is, something happened to the dump. It won't raise so far, so that's being worked on now. So hopefully by next Tuesday we'll have that back and they'll be able to do a little bit of work of getting some of those stones. I know they were out mowing a little bit today. I saw the two guys out mowing. So anyway, we're down to ordinance.
Okay. The ordinance committee met this evening and we had several things on the agenda. I reported to the group, the committee and the group, my meetings with the Morgan County Unsafe Building Agency and the town of Bath, the dilapidated building agency. We talked more about the state building code and how it's followed in other locations, including Morgan County, and things that may need to change, or, you know, different ways we may be able to handle things as far as that goes. We had a fairly lengthy report on the Historic Landmarks Commission meeting that I do believe all the reports were that it went very well and was very informative, and people did enjoy it. We talked about the business license ordinance that Public Safety has given to Richard Gay. We haven't gotten it back yet, and when they do, they'll give it to the ordinance. We talked about the need to, about special ordinance 2021-03-1, which I'll read in a minute. But what we also need to do along with this that we didn't realize is there are two chapters, chapter 22 and 78, that have fine schedules as separate ordinance sections that we will have to change also to include the fine schedules for the amendment that we're about to have a second reading on. And I can find it. Huh?
I don't feel so bad.
You don't? Okay. All right, now this is for a second reading. The first reading was March the 16th, 2021. It's a short ordinance, and we'll read it. It's special ordinance 2021-03-101, amending Town of Bath Code, Chapter 78, Section 168, right and left parallel parking, angled parking. No vehicle shall be stopped or parked on a road or street with a vehicle facing in a direction other than the direction of travel on any road or street. This includes both one-way and two-way streets. The right tires must be within 18 inches of and parallel to the right curb or roadside. As per West Virginia Code, violations will be considered a misdemeanor, and upon conviction, fines will be levied as follows. First offense, $10, second offense, $50, and third offense, $100. The first reading date was March the 16th, 2021, and I make a motion that we pass this ordinance for a second reading and that it become law immediately.
Second?
Second.
We also talked about a period of time in the meeting
Right.
where citizens will be apprised of this and maybe some leniency or warnings given until people do get used to it. We also talked about improvements to side roads
Right.
so that people do have a better chance of obeying the law and not getting into problems with fines and things like that.
Right.
So.
Yeah, we discussed with the chief, and so he's going to be working on implementing this and, letting people know.
So anyway, any more discussion?
So you were saying that there would need to be additional amendments in the fee schedule in
Yes,
the code? So
indeed.
that's something.
You don't have that out, do you? No. I can send it to you, but there are charts.
So just
within-
will update those charts.
And update those charts to include these.
Next meeting and put these fines actually into that chart, so.
All right, any more discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. You want to sign this one, or do you have a better copy, or?
This one has holes in
No, I have a better copy of it.
All right,
I'll get it tomorrow.
it. Yeah, get the.
Okay. All right. Well, we're down to waterworks.
Yeah, the water committee met yesterday afternoon, evening. The one primary thing I think to report is with regard to the right-of-ways and the easements. And you can correct me on the numbers. I think we ended up getting 31
Correct.
easements done. And we've gotten to the point now where with our attorney, George McVeigh, Trump and Trump, and with Thrasher, are putting forward petitions for the remaining ones. I think there were 13, is my understanding, to file with court to obtain those easements so that the project can move forward. And so the hope is that we can get this finalized and hopefully go out for bid in early June. Is the timeframe we're hoping for. So, and that's all I have.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions, Chris?
This would be in circuit, he would file in circuit court, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I believe that's what it
believe
is.
so.
Yeah, I believe so.
All right, well, this comes to the part of the meeting where I ask if there's anything else that needs to come before this council. If there is no, then
Motion to adjourn.
I adjourn this, our page.